Welcome random YouTube people to my workshop. In this video, I'm going to add a shop light with its own light switch. Be sure to stay tuned because this is going to be a bodacious video. Subscribe. Hello everyone, this is my new pegboard for my future workbench area, which is part of my awesome shelving unit. Be sure to go check out my full-length video for the entire process. This is just the shop light portion. I'm going to add a shop light above here. And what I've purchased is this smart LED shop light or workbench light. And it comes with a standard plug, as you can see. I'm trying to figure out, and I'm going to do something that's completely experimental, at least for me, is I want to make this all work off of a switch. And in order to do that, I need to be able to access the black, white, and ground wires from this cable. So I would need to snap it off right here and then get to the wires and then wire the light into the switch. And then I would, on the other side, going to the power, or power coming into the unit, which would be right here, I would have this cable right here. And so this cable plugs into the wall, and then it already has 3 wires, a ground, black, and a white. And then I would wire that into the switch, and in theory it should just work. But I'm going to have to basically do an experiment. This was about $35. So this experiment would cost me $35 if I don't do it right. I might have to get a whole new shop light that allows you to add your own custom cables in the first place. But I like the idea of this being smart and being able to control it with my phone and other things like that. Not necessarily, or not necessary, you know, first world problems and whatnot, but hey, it could be kind of cool. Change the colors and all that stuff like that. All right, so let's get to it. I would just need to snap this off. So this is me gambling $35 to see if this works. I have some 12 gauge wire here, and I'm gonna use this to do some pigtails because I foresee the cables in here not being so thick. I see them being kind of, you know, the kind that are kind of braided rather than solid like this. So I'm going to pigtail it where I have a solid piece and the braided piece all wire netted together. And then that solid piece would then be the one that goes to the switch. Makes sense? So first I'm going to work off of the power cable, because if I decide to not go this route with this light, this is the portion I still need to do. So this would plug in up here, and then I would staple and run the wires to wherever my switch is going to be, either here or there. That's a little too low, so I'd probably go for high. And I have a box, but I have no way to mount it to the wall, and I don't really fancy screwing it into that post on the front side and having it pop out like that. I'd rather it be in the back there hidden. So, I mean, that would take up some shelf space. I could put it in the front and use these screws to mount it in the front. I don't know, I might have to look and see. But I'm gonna do a test just here on the floor, just to make sure. So this is the box that I would be running everything into. And then first I would wire my cable into here. So what's gonna happen is this way the switch is wired is this is the black from the power, and or from the power source, which would be me plugging it right into the outlet. And then this just stays empty. And then this one over here on the other side would be the black that goes to the light. So this would be the black from this cable. And then the ground and the white from all cables get wire netted together. And that's really all you need to do. So for the ground, oh man, I just dropped it. For the ground, you can have the wires so the ground from here and the ground from here get wire netted together, but that still needs to be grounded somewhere. You can run a ground and go into the box, or run the ground from this into the box and then run that into the box and have a ground nut into the metal box here. Or I'm gonna just do a pigtail where I send off the ground here to the switch itself. I mean, that's kind of what it's there for. So let's wire this up and I'll show you and re-explain what I've been talking about. Well, I went for it. I cut the cable off, and as you can see, there's a green, and I need to figure out which ones these are, which one's the ground and which one's the quote unquote black, and let's figure it out. So the middle one was wrapped in a green, but the other two were not defined as white or black, so I'm not entirely sure which one is which. It's possible it may not matter as long as it's wired up correctly on the other side. Or I can just mix and match and see what actually works. So, wish me luck. Okay, I'm holding it like this because I don't have it plugged into anything yet. So I have the black 12 gauge wire going to the black of the power cord. And then on the other black, I have it actually as a red wire. I had another one of these. I couldn't find a length of black that I had that was 12 gauge, but I have the 12 gauge, and this is my other black, which goes to the, what I hope is the black for the light. And then the ground for the power cable and the ground for the light are wire nutted together, and the yellow one over here. And that extra cable for the ground connects to the light switch here at the bottom. So in theory, this should work. I'm going to get some gloves because I'm going to power this in, and then it's going to be able to shock me if I were to grab these terminals. So, moment of truth would be that if I plug this in to my power outlet right here and I flip this on, the light should turn on, and if I flip it off, the light should turn off. So let's go ahead and flip the light this way so we can see it better. And let's plug it in. But first I'm gonna put a glove on. All right, so I have the switch just here on the concrete. It's not around anything. I'm gonna go ahead and take this power cable, and the light switch is off right now. See that? And then I'm gonna take this power cable and go ahead and plug it in. And whoa, the light turned on. So, all right, maybe the switch is backwards. So that's off. All right, look at that. Light switch on and light off. How freaking cool is that? Now that we have this proof of concept working, and I cut the wire here, hopefully this wire is a good length. I'm gonna go ahead and mount this up here. I need a new junction box. I don't wanna use this metal one, but I might use this metal one just for now. I'd like to have one that I can nail into the 2x4 right here. But I don't really want this metal one, but that's all that I have at the moment. But wow, proof of concept is that it does indeed work. Dude. Now it's time to hang the shop light. When I built these shelves, I did not necessarily measure to know exactly how wide a shop light would be or which shop light I would get. So I'm going to try my best to hang it in a way that will work and be secure and not fall off. This shop light came with some mounting equipment. I'm going to use my drill to put in some of these wall anchors that were provided so I can use these eyelet hangers to try to hang this shop light in this area. Let's see if it works. Here's a look at the little metal hanger pieces for this shop light. Let's go connect them to those little hooks and see if it looks good. Spoiler alert, it does not look good at all. It hangs down way too low. I'm gonna have to do some modifications. All right, we are almost done with this. I have my little workbench light hung under the above the workbench area, and you can see my pegboards installed with the power outlets. It's looking sweet. So I changed the way I was going to mount this originally. In the packaging, it comes with one of these hooks that you drill like this. But by the time the hook sat here and you hooked it into the metal clamps, the light was hanging like way down here. And one, I couldn't see this part of the pegboard. And two, I was hitting my head on it when I tried to lean into the workbench area. So what I decided to do is use these clamps. They're little cable clamps, 1/2 inch, and I screwed it in up here and it hooks around the mount that, or the bracket that comes with it. So it hangs a lot higher, a lot closer to the 2x4s. It's looking great. So if I come over to the other side, you can see that I did the same thing with that clamp, and I'm running my wire from the light with these clamps nailed into the 2x4, and I'm running it around, and it combines with the power cable. So the power cable is close to the outlet. I'll use this top one, and this is clamped to the pegboard, and it comes along and runs along this 2x4 here to meet up with the light cable, and they all come down into the junction box, which I have nailed to the 2x4 right here. So let's talk about the wiring. So concerning the wiring, I have one of these crimp sleeves for the ground. I have the 2 green ground wires coming in, and it's crimped to a metal copper, which goes to the ground area at the bottom of the switch here. Then I have the whites for both the light cable and the power cable, all wire netted together here on the orange one. And then my 2 blacks, I have the black from the light that goes to one of the terminal areas here, if you will, on the light. And then for the power cable, you can see the black coming out, and it gets wire netted together, and it goes onto the other side of the light down here at the main black, I'll call it a terminal. Now it should be all wired up and working great. Let's do a test. If I plug this in theory, I probably won't see a light, but I might. All right, I plugged it in. I don't see a light. So let's flip the switch. And success. Sweet. So the last thing to do is just to wire this up into the box. I'm gonna flip it around though, so that up is on and down is off. But look at that. Whew. So that's how you can cut the cable of a light and merge it with a wire that has a plug on the other end and wire it up into a switch. It's really pretty freaking easy. So let's get that wall plate on for the light switch and let's see what it looks like. Well, that's a wrap.
If you want to watch more of my videos where I add the actual garage shelves themselves, the individual outlets, and the pegboard, go ahead and check out my big full-length video about adding garage shelves. Also, subscribe so that you can get any new content that I come out with. I want to add a separate video just about the pegboard, so subscribe to be able to stay tuned for those.
Thank you for joining me, and remember to subscribe.
Subscribe.
If you want to watch more of my videos, just search for my name. DIY BRY. Yeah!